Hello and welcome to an episode 32 of A Dose of Sinsanity. I am GR3. I am joined by Welshie and Jamokin. And what a special event that we got going on today. Jamokin, what is one thing that it just screams, I want to bond. I want to just get to know guys, spend some time. What would you say that is?
Uh, Next to strippers, it's got to be fishing.
It's got to be fishing.
It's got to be fishing.
I mean, absolutely. Strippers, maybe not strippers, maybe hookers.
Maybe not stripper hookers. Wait,
But so today, what we are doing, we found a game. We're fishing. We're fishing, and we're gonna have a little bit of a competition, biggest bass, and you might hear us call out like 1.7 or 1.6 or things like that through the podcast. Don't be alarmed. We're just trying to win a little bit of a fishing competition while we are doing this podcast.
As you might expect, Welsh ain't caught shit. All right, this game's bullshit. Fucking virtual fish ain't biting for nothing.
So we're gonna start off once again with a bit of story time. First off, Welshie, how was your Thanksgiving, buddy?
Fucking exhausting, man. Just making all families feel wanted and loved is just such a fucking stress. But other than that, fun.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
It is, but dude, I'll say this: like, I left the Thanksgiving table with like 3 pounds of turkey to bring home, so I was like, you know what? All right.
We're not going to ask Jamokin because Jamokin doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving because he's a Canadian.
That's correct.
And they don't have Thanksgiving in Canada.
Indigenous Peoples Day.
If you guys are wondering,
that's the equivalent.
So
we have Thanksgiving.
I'm going to tell you about my Thanksgiving experience. We ended up going to my wife's family and spending time with them, and it was actually a really good time. Like, I always like spending time with them and all that jazz. But when we got home is when we got home. So, do you guys know like those Shark robot vacuums?
Oh, the Roombas and shit?
Yeah, but like the Shark ones are like the really fucking nice ones.
Gotcha.
My family gifted us one of those for Christmas like 2 years ago or something. That thing is phenomenal. Like, it's awesome. Like, it's cool because I can have a timer, like make it go on like around the living room and whatever rooms I want, like specific times, days, things like that. Well, turns out when I let my dog out before, it didn't take a shit and proceeded to take a shit. So as you can imagine with me talking about a Roomba and like the iShark vacuums or whatever, mine ran over the giant pile of shit. So it didn't spread, which is good, but it wasn't like ideal, right?
Oh, bro, do you have carpet?
I do have carpet. Yeah. So, oh man, it was horrible cleaning this thing up. And I'm sitting here and like I work in the health profession. I can deal with piss, I can deal with vomit. I can't deal with shit. I literally can't. So I'm like barreled over in the trash can trying to clean this thing, like just hurling and like dry heaving. It's just miserable, right? And my wife is just sitting there. She goes, I'm gonna go upstairs. I feel like it stinks. I'm gonna puke. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm puking as is. Like, this is horrible.
You're like, no shit, you're gonna puke. There's a lot of shit.
Like, when we have kids, like, there's just, you know what I mean? Like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
Oh man. But
Actually, later that day, he tells me this story, and I'm like, that's funny. That's funny as hell. And so, anyways, later on, I get an ad pop up, and it's for one of these like little iRoomba robot things, and they're like, "There's a poop on the ground. What do we do?" And they're like, "This is radio to mission control. Go around the poop." And then they go around the poop. I'm like, that's the one he needs, dude.
That is the one that I fucking need. Oh man, you probably looked at that shit and were like, I have 5 dogs. There's no way. Like, not
today. Not today.
But yeah, so
That's a shitty situation, dude.
It is a shitty situation. But you want to talk about not a shitty time coming up? PSGS Invitational. We've kind of hinted
That's a
at
great
it.
time.
It is a great time, and we officially have the amount of teams that we need. Yeah,
Yeah.
boys, I
last
caught a water
checked-
lily.
Yes, let's go. Last time I checked earlier today, we were at 11 teams, if memory serves me correct, and that is one extra team.
It means that we'll have some form of open qualifiers, which is cool.
Shout out. I don't remember what their team name was. But yeah, no, we finished direct invites, open registrations on the way. It's full price / late price time, so $20 to get in. You're guaranteed a best of 3 right now.
You're ready to pay off, you late little shits.
Until we hit 9 teams. Top 4 teams end up going on to the group stage from the opens. So, potential to get tons of dotes in, tons of fun competitive dotes.
Yeah, it's gonna. I mean, the cool thing is the actual the quality of the teams. Like even in the opens, like we're getting very, very, very good teams that are coming in ready to play. It's not just like I believe it was last time. It was like, okay, we got our top teams that are direct invites, and then it's like an entirely different tournament. It feels like getting into like the main or the group stage is going to actually be a challenge this time. It's not going to just be like, separate tournament, yada yada yada. We're gonna get dicked when we get to group stage. Not gonna happen. Everyone who makes it out of the open qualifiers is going to compete through the entire group stage, which just adds for like the overall value of what this tournament's actually going to be. And I couldn't be more excited.
And I'll be excited to watch. It's going to be a really good time, honestly. I'm excited to see what kind of casting talent you guys got too.
Oh, we got some winners. I mean, when you have the OD Pixel of 82L, like
it's going to be a good time.
Oh, it can't not be. But Licky the Cow is going to be there.
Licky the Cow.
Licky the Cow.
Oh, screw OD Pixel, dude. You got the Licky the Cow.
The Licky the Cow. We've got Alleviate. We've got some Fennec. Some Gambit.
We have Gambit.
We have Gambit. We have
Gambito.
Man.
We have Yank. She's doing some. Or Kiara's also the name that she goes by. We've got Billy Smoocher. We've got Stanny. We've got Rusty. We got Biggie. Like we've got a lineup of some very, very talented casters, and cannot wait to see just to listen to these games and watch and really, really high quality Dota. Plus, right at a good time with like the new patch coming out and all that, and the DPC is starting to get underway. Speaking of, when the fuck are they gonna announce like when the hell the signups and like who the actual organizers are
for DPC this year?
For DPC, like it's actually less than 2 weeks away. Or 2 weeks away, and there's been zero announcement, nowhere to sign up. No one has any idea the times of these games. Like what a shit show, honestly. Like,
yeah, it's ridiculous, and it makes it hard for us too because they announced the tournament in the middle of ours, and so we're dealing with high 7 AK stacks. These teams want to go to the DPC quals. These are quality DPC stacks.
Dude, this is Midas mode all over again. I'm telling you. Go ahead. Sorry.
It is. It's the Midas mode incident from years ago. For those of you who don't know, Slacks was running like a fun community kind of tournament with like
what fun
teams and
that tournament is too.
And
it's so much fun.
Valve announced like what was it, TI qualifiers?
Yeah, it was TI qualifiers.
Yeah, it's TI quals. The same time all these teams said they come to this tournament, and then everyone said no, we're not going to go.
Qualify for TI.
But you know, community backlash happened. They moved the qualifiers. They're not doing it for DPC. You know, we're not that notable. So teams want to know like what's going to happen, and I'm like, we can't really tell you what's going to happen yet until we really see when these times are that teams can sign up, because they want to know, we want to know, everybody wants to know, and nobody knows. They don't even know.
Oh, it's kind of getting to be a shit show, and they had some issues last season with it was 4D or 4D esports. So they're the S. I don't know if you guys even heard about this. So 4D esports is the organizer for SA, like Tour 30 last season. They haven't even paid out their teams.
Oh, this is a massive problem in Dota generally.
Like, oh yeah, like oh, what was the gentleman's name that we were looking at last week? I need to check this out. But there's actually a oh, who is this? It is by Knoxville. We talked about some of this stuff the other couple podcasts ago.
Mhm.
So Knoxville has a running like debt like list of all the debt in esports and like when it's been figured out. It's ridiculous how much money is actually in like in this. I mean, there's teams that are like teams that are owed like 120,000 or 110,000, a lot of like 65, 50s, 35s. Like people just aren't paying out. There's individual players that are owed, like Kazu was owed a little bit. Each player from Pain Gaming was over 35,000 a piece. And like this is stuff that's still not um, being paid. Like it's still like owed.
Oh yeah.
These
Now,
guys are promised a specific amount of money. They compete. They're in the deep, like they're in the DPC, and then they don't actually get paid for how they finish.
oh, for sure. I mean, is this a problem that's just to tournament organizers not paying out, or is this also organizations not paying their players?
Oh no, it's both. Like it's like Vega Esports, like
Is
owes
there
like a whole bunch.
specific regions that are worse than others?
From what I can tell, it's not really separated by legion or by regions, but like um GSC, well, I guess that was a sue, being owed to EG and VGJ Storm. Team
What I'm
Gaming
saying is
from an
like I don't
Indonesian
know the
event.
like the legal systems and how that all works in like other regions of the world, but like, you know, over here in
Yeah, and most of what
Canada or
I'm
the US,
seeing
it
is
will
like
be
SA and like CIS teams is from most of
okay.
what I'm seeing. If that answers your question.
Yeah,
CIS
it makes
surprises me.
sense.
SA, I feel like they just get bullied. Like people aren't going to
I
listen.
Yeah, I mean they absolutely do. Um, it's like the region doesn't have a lot of money, and so few do, and it's like, oh, we're gonna make all this money like creating an organization, and then like, yeah, we'll pay you out like 20-25%. Like we'll just take 20-25% of the earnings. We'll pay you guys out like 80 or whatever or 75, and then they just never do.
Yep.
And then you wonder why organizations are falling apart like constantly. Well, this is why. I mean, it's because no one's paying out. Like they put you in shitty situations.
Yep.
Like it's been known that, or like everyone's wondering why the hell the Thunder Awaken has, or Predator or whoever the hell they want to be today. They like, why did they leave? I'm so surprised. Why do they like? Because the organization is dog shit.
Like
Like
don't
I
get me
know
wrong, the players are good, but the way they were ran was dog. I mean, we
it's
talked to Fu.
awful living conditions.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
Fu didn't want to say anything like about it, nor should he. But like we know, like it's not a great place to be,
Yep.
and that's why they leave. And I was like, we're so surprised. Like, really not after shit that we heard. Like,
Yeah. It's also like a very unusual setup. I'm not giving credit or giving understanding, but it is at the very least something to be said about the fact that it, like, I mean, it's like, hey, literally, we're basically children. Just give us dormitories and food, and like make sure that we're all taken care of in other aspects of our life. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I think it's unusual for an organization to be there, but at the same time, though, it's very simple. It's like, we give you a place to eat, we give you a place to sleep, we give you food. All you do is have to play Dota. That's like all your job.
And like I said,
I mean, to
feel
my
like
understanding, that's like a lot of professional sports, though.
That's true.
Essentially,
It's just basically eat, sleep, train.
they're gonna
Yeah.
take care of you.
Damn, good point, bro. Actually, that's a really good point.
Like they're gonna handle all kinds of stuff.
but when
And
they don't
you're-
handle, then you're going to be unhappy
Yeah.
because it's expected. Like these are like it's weird to say, but they are professional athletes. They're just professional athletes in a way. But like, yeah, you expect that you're not being given those kind of situations, and then that's why half that roster went to Beast Coast and the other half went to EG,
yeah,
which was I think announced this week officially by EG, their actual roster. So that was cool to see. We were wondering what was going to happen as well. Like we talked about it, what's going to happen with Cuckoo and Thames and all that stuff, and that was announced also this week. They're going to be on Blacklist Esports, where they'll be with Cuckoo, Carl, Raven, Thames, and AU, which is a hell of a
183.
which is a pretty hell 1.83. Jeez.
Good
I've
luck,
got
boys.
nothing over 1.3 so far. I'm having an awful time. But anyways, going back, like Cuckoo, Carl, Raven, Tim's AU, that's gonna be a nut stack. Like that's gonna be pretty good. So I'm excited to see them. There was the other question of Matu retired, right?
Yep.
Who are they gonna get? Well, how about let's steal the guy that beat in the lower bracket finals. So Chrysalis is joining Team Secret.
Interesting pickup.
I like that.
I don't know much about Chrysalis. Can you guys tell me about him? I'm actually not that familiar with him as a pro player.
So Chrysalis, so after like the Dindy era,
Yeah.
Chrysalis was the guy who was on Navi that they wanted to basically rebuild the entire organization around.
Chrysalis.
Like he played a little. Chrysalis was. As you know, Navi had very limited success. Believe started throwing focus into other events. Congratulations to Navi, by the way, for winning the PUBG championships in Dubai.
Hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, they tried to build around Chrysalis. He kind of floated around. It didn't work. Ended up on Liquid this past season, and then now is going to play with some puppy who's coming around for yet another season. Guy just refuses to retire.
Long as there's TI, he'll still be making it.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, what a run.
I mean, I was shaking in my boots this season, in full honesty. Like, I mean, I don't know. For something about the fact that he went from maybe I qualify to I'm in grand finals, just I'm like, okay, dude, if you ended your career there, like, no one can say you didn't still have it. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's hungry. Like,
yeah, that's true.
He wants another, and he's gonna keep trying to like build. And that stack's nuts. Like the stack's very, very good. He can absolutely win with that stack. They just got to find their meta, figure out what they're missing, and build. Because now, I mean, here's the thing: is Tundra came in with their style of Dota that they have worked on for a year, like as a team. Like they have not gone away from it. Now they have like teams have seen it. Now they have plenty of time to build on it. That style isn't going to be as effective in the next one. It's just how things are. People adapt too much. Now they get to figure out, okay, we're pretty much the same stack. We're missing one other person, like one new one. Chrysalis is young. He's insanely good at the game. So let's find our style and let's just win. And I think they're going to be a force this CPC season.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So it's gonna be a good time watching them. But new patch, I kind of spoke of it before. Real quickly, I almost forgot. Valve has released roster lock cooldowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So now it'll show once you make a transaction, there's actually a cooldown before you can make another one. I don't know if this was in place before, but it is something that I discovered.
If it was on the back end with the your regional tournament organizer.
Yeah.
I'm interested in
that's
what
a
problem
patch
that's solved.
You pick up a guy like immediately, and then all of a sudden you drop him right before a fucking event, like a day later. Like if he's going to be on your roster.
Well, the
then
issue
he's
with
gonna be
dropping
on your
players
roster.
is you lost DPC points.
Yeah. Unless they never fucking played. Like it solves the issue of like, I'm picking up this player, but then I'm going to drop him 2 days later for another one that just becomes available.
Fair.
So I don't know if that's good or bad or what, but that's what it is now.
God damn.
Oh, 1.959, boys.
Ah, you son of a bitch.
We in the lead. But like I said before, new patch is out. We got a D patch. You guys happy about that, or were you guys kind of hoping for a major patch like I was?
I didn't think that a major patch was coming. I think that the Wraith Pack change everybody just kind of saw.
Well, it seemed like they went into this patch and like, okay, Wraith Pack needs to be adjusted. Bloodstone needs to maybe be addressed. How really broken is it? Like, is it something where we just got to adjust Lush? Do we need to adjust both? Because no one really buys Bloodstone other than
It's a Lushrack item.
Lushrack.
The one hero who's absolutely
Yeah.
like,
So,
donked with it.
and then they're like, okay, Marcy. So
Put in the fucking dumpster. Holy shit.
no chance it's in the dumpster. Like, oh, now I just need to build Aetherlands and I'm the same hero. Like, the hero's bust. It's the kit. It's the full kit. Damage numbers could be 0. Like, you can try to nerf shit like that. There's items that are cheap that, like, adjust that. I build Aetherlands now on position 4. Or, like, if you're position 3, what's it matter? Honestly, what's it matter? It really doesn't.
Yeah, I still think the hero's busted.
I don't think it changed anything. I think
I
they're
do have
starting to
thoughts.
figure out, though, that you can't do anything.
I do have thoughts on this patch and whether I wanted it to be a bigger patch. I feel like this patch should have been out a couple weeks ago. I don't think we gleaned anything new in the last, 2 or 3 weeks that this patch couldn't have been out for. And then my concern is when's the big patch coming though? Like it's probably not going to come for this winter DPC season, which means it's going to be the spring DPC season patch most likely when they do a big one. Is that the time they're going to release the new hero as well? Like, I just
See that's my confusion
that I have to
as
wait
well.
that long. I'm disappointed I have to wait that long for a big patch.
It's not even that. I'm disappointed that we're going to most likely be playing the DPC season on or the first tour on the same patch as TI.
Exactly.
Like, why?
I mean, maybe
why
the
is
Wraith
that?
Pack changes quite a bit. Like,
I think it's going to change the
Zoo
offline.
heroes. Yeah, like I think Beastmaster gets a buff from this.
I mean, what happens now? Like, the offlane was essentially, okay, who can build Wraith Pack? You're the best heroes in the meta, and that's what the offlane meta was. So is this going to help heroes that are Blink Initiators? Like, they buffed Sand King. Like, I believe they buffed Centaur as well.
I mean, the buff to Sand King, I thought, was just that they fixed his last
this
pulse.
15th pulse. Yeah,
dude, that is some CSI shit for them to be doing. By the way, I don't know if anybody else read the patch notes, but the change for Sand King, I think there's one other, but then one of them was on the 15th pulse. Like, the radius was 825, not 850, and for that we apologize. And I'm like, what the fuck? Obviously, I added the apology, but dude, I was like, how do you know this? Like, who figures this out?
Everybody figures shit out because the way that you bust things and you figure out strats is how can I abuse different aspects? Sure. And then somebody is a big Sand King player and was like, what the fuck is this? And then tested it out and tested it out and tested it out. People
Somebody
do
missed the kill they should have had.
Yeah.
Yet that shit with Sand King Shard somehow slipped through that one patch. Jesus Christ.
Dude, that was the first time I think they ever removed a hero from matchmaking.
Yeah.
Immediately we're like, no, we have to fix this right now. Just remove it. We have to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. They didn't patch it first. They removed the hero from matchmaking.
Probably because they're confused on what the fuck was actually going on.
Exactly. They didn't have time to figure it out. And they're like,
dude, I just pulled a bass. It was 1337. I'm so proud. I'm elite, dude.
195.
Oh, does that beat mine?
No, you had
0.01
196.
short.
Nice. Yeah, like I said, my complaint was literally like
I don't wanna wait this
I
long for the
agree with you.
patch.
This should have came out like directly after TI. Like all the
Uh,
information that you needed was given directly through TI. Why the hell are we waiting like 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Um,
Neon
should
Prime.
already have the D. You should have like brought it out right before qualifiers, which God knows when the hell those are going to be. Um, so it's confusing to me, like why they're waiting. Like you said, why are they waiting this long? It doesn't make sense.
I mean, have we not had a major patch drop like a couple days before quals before? I feel like we have.
Um,
Okay, but even if we have, like, competitively, do you think that's right?
No, not
Like,
at all.
is there anyone in
well,
this
it's not
call
just
that
is it
thinks that's the
right?
right
Like,
thing?
how long is this D patch going to be out? A week?
Fair point.
Because you're gonna give them like a couple days to figure it out. You ain't gonna throw it to them right as qualifiers hit. That
Yeah.
like
You're also not going to put out a D patch. You're not going to put out a D patch and then like a couple days later put out a major patch. They're
Now,
just
it is a little different in the middle of their DPC, like, winter run, right? There's not as much on the line. Whereas, like, qualifiers, you either make it or you're gone for the whole season.
yeah,
You don't
and
compete.
not understanding the patch completely, like because you got no time to do it, and you match up against a really good team early. Yeah, that fucks. Like that'll fuck you up. Let's talk about the new Wraith pack change. My initial thought, and you guys tell me if you feel any different, but what we said last week when we said what do we want to see in the new patch, we said we want to see Wraith pack changes and we want to see Crimson Guard gets buffed. Well, Wraith pack is now Crimson Guard with lifesteal. Like
Yes, sir.
you get a little bit extra armor for Crimson Guard, but then you get now it's just physical for the Wraith pack. Do you think that addresses the problems with Wraith pack? I think it does. Like you remove the pure, like any pure magic damage, like away.
I think that now that that's the way it is. I think that it's a situational item, and it's still better than Crimson. I think
it seems like an illusion counter. Like I feel like you'd still build it against like Terror Blades, Naga Sirens.
I mean, your late game carries. I think it makes Lunas and Gyrocopters more value.
Yeah, and I mean, Giga right clickers are not going to be like. Obviously, you can still build it against. I think it's just the general rule, right? And it's not like, what is it like Crimson Guard, which is just that flat amount, which was like, oh yeah, it's great if you're dealing with like a shit ton of units that do almost no damage, but nobody does that, right? Like PAs and things like that don't care about Crimson Guard. Now you have an item to counter it.
Yeah. Does the damage reduction or like the block chance, does that stack, like those two items stack together?
Oh yeah.
And can you imagine a Wraith pack Crimson Guard on like a Centaur?
Maybe it's new meta. Maybe that's what we're missing. I mean, my thought was also this: does the change to Wraith pack make Tidehunter irrelevant, or is Tidehunter still a relevant hero?
I think it's still relevant. I don't see any issue with what it is. Like the hero is just good. Like Wraith pack, like it still allows you. Like it's not as good. Like where you can't just buy the item and just mow down towers and play at every single tower. It makes it a little bit harder. It'll drop the win rate of the hero like maybe a point or two, but it still is like big aura carrier, big like team fight, all like it use hard as shit to deal with, like with spells and things. Like
yeah, I think we're still gonna see like pipes and stuff and these auras.
And they just nerfed the cost of pipe on the recipe.
Yes, they did.
And if Beastmaster does go up in value, like I'm predicting, Tidehunter goes up in value because he's a counter.
Yeah.
There was a change.
Wherever Beastmaster goes, Tide just follows, right?
Yeah, there was a change that I saw on the patch that I think that maybe people are talking about, maybe they're not, but I feel like Wraith King's about to come up in a really big way. Something about the skeletons getting a 25 speed move speed boost and 25 attack speed when you Wraith Fire blast somebody, I think is going to make a difference.
Piss off that hero is to play into.
Oh, for sure.
We played against that hero in a battle cup, and it's so hard to play into that hero. Like the hero really is not
He's a
great.
split pusher, dude. Like
Yeah,
nothing's better than dropping full skellies on a tower and then TPing to the fucking fight
yeah.
on the other
I
side
mean,
of the map.
pair that shit with a Dawn, and it's like, what do you do? I mean, it's like, okay, you killed him once, but now what? Like my team's there, this Dawn's coming in, like can't kill him a second time. Like it's rough to play into that hero. But Ben, you've got a game for us, yeah?
I do. Okay, so I'm very proud
Why
of this.
are you so violent with the way that you say I do to have this game?
Because I'm so proud of this game, man. So I stole a concept from.
Anyways, we don't have time, so let's go ahead on to the next.
No, I stole a concept that I loved. But,
Bye.
so this is going to be Dota, actually. So the story of the basic of the game it plays is basically that I'm going to read a statement to both of you. I have a buzzer system that I've set up that both of you have access to. And I'm going to read a statement, and something about that statement is untrue. I already did a test, so I think you guys understand this. It'll be a variety of topics. I'm going to read the full statement. You may buzz in and repeating this information again. You can buzz in at any time that you think you know the answer. You have to begin your answer with the statement actually, and then you may make your answer. That make it.
What
Does
if
that
we
seem
don't
clear to
say
you guys?
actually?
Then you lose the point. If you give the right answer, then I'm just going to simply like nullify the question.
Okay.
All right.
So that means we need to take a fishing break, yes?
If you want to. I mean,
we're
I would
gonna
suggest it.
have to.
I'm gonna take a break because I can't hit the buzzer at the same time.
That's fair.
That sounds good. Reel them in, boys. Reel them in. My line's really far out.
I don't even.
All right. On.
I don't understand how Welsh ended up fishing next to me, bro. Like,
it was a good spot. What can I say? Now hold on, I gotta play our theme song. From the Dota Studios, it's actually. Joining me today, Jamokin and Greco.
Yay!
yeah. This feels like a copyright strike.
No, it will be fine. So
no, it's fine. Just because I said it's fine, it'll be fine.
So I will warn you guys.
It's parody.
Yeah, so I will warn you guys. Some of these are real specific details. Some of these are like real blatant, like you'll know this from the moment I say it, basically. So I'm excited to see if you guys can get these. So let's get into it. First question. First statement. Nullifier is a newer item to Dota. Added to Dota 2.
Actually, it's not a newer item.
Fair, but no.
I was gonna say, he didn't buzz though. So like,
I did buzz.
He did buzz. You don't see it, but I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait for me to call you if you don't mind. But so added to Dota 2 in patch 7.07, this item's ability is called Nullify, which dispels the target and applies a debuff for 5 seconds that continuously dispels the target, slowing them by 80% when attacked by any hero's normal attack. Greco.
I'm actually 100%.
Incorrect.
What? Really?
Incorrect. Slowing them by 80% when attacked by a normal hero's attack. It provides 6 health regen, 10 armor, and 80 attack damage. I'm gonna reset the buzzer here. Buzz in if you think you know. I'll read it again if you want.
Am I allowed to buzz in again?
Yes, you may. You may keep going. I do not mind people continuously answering. I'll give you like 3, and then you have to let the other person at least get a try. So I'll read it one more time. Nullifier is a newer item added to Dota 2 in patch 7.07. The item's ability is called Nullify, which dispels the target and applies a debuff for 5 seconds. It continuously dispels the target. Tyrone, aka Jamokin.
Actually, it doesn't slow anymore.
You are correct. The slow was removed. The current ability is that it only debuffs continuously, with no slow being applied by the attacks. That's 1 point for Jamokin.
I remember
Yay,
that
Tyrone!
and that made me really upset.
What's up? What made you upset?
When they got rid of the slow.
Oh, dude, it was the best part of it, man. It was
the best, dude.
Oh, if I'm honest with you, I miss when it muted. Like, that was such a ridiculously good thing to do.
Orchid Nullifier was amazing, dude.
Yep.
Just dooming people. You're just out here dooming.
Glad they removed that.
No, dude. As the Arc Warden player, it was sad. It was a sad time.
I'm sure. I played Arc Warden during that time too.
Personally, I just loved that it was like, oh, you have no BKB piercing spells? Well, be rich and there's not a problem with that.
What a great time.
Very. So, next question. TI5 was one of the most interesting TIs ever held in Seattle. Along with being the only TI that was won by a North American team in history, it also featured a musical guest appearance from the band Daft Punk. Greco.
Actually, it was Deadmau5.
You are correct. It was not Daft Punk, it was Deadmau5.
Wow.
That was my favorite music pack that ever came out.
It's relaxing, dude.
It is. I don't know. Just the techno beat while playing Dota is just really nice to just jam to.
I also had Lindsay Sterling.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that part.
Mm-hmm.
They need to bring Dota back to
Wind Ranger cosplay.
It was also the only time that an NA team won. Do you guys know what that team is?
EG.
It is EG. Well, no shocker there, but yeah.
Oh. Oh, I can't buzz again to say EG.
You're good. All right. So it's 1-1. Okay, next question. In TI3, TI3 was one of the most controversial. Oh, Jesus, I can't even read. In TI3, there was one of the most controversial moments in TI history, if not the most controversial, with the infamous Navi fountain hook by Puppy and Dendy, causing quite the upstir in the pro scene, including S4's famous quote, "How is that balanced?" However, Tong Fu attributed that they were aware of the possibility of Navi using this tactic when drafting, and take responsibility for not being able to play around it as the reason they lost.
Uh-oh.
One more time. In TI...
I'm just going to say Tong Fu was the most pissed off about it.
Incorrect. Tong Fu actually really did. They fell on their sword over it.
I just don't know.
Take shots in the dark. You're good.
That was my shot in the dark.
You're good. So TI3 held one of the most controversial moments in TI history, if not the most controversial, with the infamous...
Oh, was this TI2?
No, it was not. Okay, you got one more, and then it has to be Jammo. I'm going to reset the buzzer. If not the most controversial, with the infamous Navi fountain hook by Puppy and Dendy, causing quite the upstir in the pro scene, including S4's famous quote of, "How is that balanced?" However, Tong Fu attributed that they were actually aware of the possibility of Navi using this tactic when drafting, and take responsibility for not being able to play around it as the reason they lost. Jammo, any thoughts? Any shots in the dark?
One more time.
Okay.
This is all you, Jammo. I got nothing.
You're good. TI3 held one of the most controversial moments in TI history, if not the most controversial, with the infamous Navi fountain hook by Puppy and Dendy, causing quite the upstir in the pro scene, including S4's famous quote of, "How is that balanced?" However, Tong Fu attributed that they were aware of the possibility of Navi using this tactic when drafting, and take full responsibility for not being able to play around it as the reason that they lost.
I'm gonna say somebody else was mad, but I don't know who. Someone else on Alliance, probably. He was on Alliance at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was Alliance. Was it Admiral Bulldog?
It was not. I'm also going to say I actually am going to give...
Was it Loda?
It was Loda. I'm going to give that half point to each of you, because I think you both got to the answer there together, but it was not S4 who said that. It was Loda, mad as fuck in the back room, like yelling at yelling at the admins of the tournament.
Yeah, I literally just going through the
I didn't think that was
TI.
I thought that was a major.
No, that was TI.
That was TI.
Oh.
Can you reset my buzz?
Oh, absolutely, I may. Did you want to buzz in again? All right.
I have 5 minutes.
Okay. So, next one. Although Tusk's origins are mysterious, one fact is known about him. Oh, Jesus Christ. I can't read today, man. Although Tusk's origins are mysterious, one fact that is known about him is that he spent some time as an enforcer in a local pub, breaking the legs of those who could not pay their tabs. Until one day, he lost a fight to a patron. That's neither a buzz-in nor...
No, he buzzed. I can see it.
Now you can. What did you say?
Actually, him and Brewmaster fought for a very long time.
Incorrect. Who could not pay their tabs until one day he lost a fight with a patron who he tried to get to pay their tab and has been seeking revenge on them ever since. Resetting the buzzers. One more time.
Why do I want to say Dark Willow?
You're good. Although Tusk's origins are mysterious, one fact that is known about him is that he spent some time as an enforcer in a local pub, breaking the legs of those who could not pay their tabs, until one day he lost a fight to a patron who he tried to get to pay their tab, and has been seeking revenge on them ever since. Greco, then Jamokin.
Actually, it wasn't Tusk, it was Brewmaster.
Incorrect. Jamokin?
You can say the hero that it was, but it's not an actually.
Actually, it was Bristleback.
You are correct. It was Bristleback.
It was Bristleback because I remember they jostle when they're in game together.
You are correct. It is not Tusk. It's actually Bristleback, and the person that he tussled with was Tusk.
Mm-hmm.
So that is currently 1.5 to 2.5 in favor of Jamokin. Okay. Next question.
Actually, you kiss my ass.
That's fair enough. All right.
I'm winning the fish.
You are winning the fish. So
you are winning.
They're still running the fishing competition. Anyway,
the
fundamentals.
We paused it.
Fair enough. The fundamentals are 4 heroes in Dota 2, which hail from a universe where the fundamental forces of reality through vocal. Jesus Christ, my reading. The fundamentals are 4 heroes in Dota 2, which hail from the universe where fundamental forces of the fundamental forces of reality. Through vocal cues, character bios, and ability descriptions, it's possible to put together who those heroes are, which is Chaos Knight, Enigma, Keeper of the Light, and Shadow Fiend. It was Greco first by a hair.
Actually, it's Arc Warden. And okay,
you're wrong.
First off, you're not the host.
Shadow Fiend. It's not Shadow Fiend. It's IO, baby.
You know he's correct, but here's the great thing: he didn't say I'm actually.
Okay, actually, the plane they reside in is the fundamental plane.
It wasn't Shadow Fiend, it was IO.
Oh, we're all tied up in the last question.
No, actually the plane they reside in is the fundamental plane.
Fucking Jeopardy rules.
Yeah.
No way, bro. The question's wrong. There's 2 actuallys in there.
Take it up with the event organizer.
I'm buzzing.
Take it up with the event organizer.
Actually, it's not your game, Jamokin. It's Welshie's. Yay!
Oh Christ! All right, I got.
Is that an extra point?
No, I got 2 more, admittedly. So we'll just see how we go into this. So there are 6 different types of. So here's a question. There are 6 different types of medium camps, consisting of centaur, wolves, satyrs, warpines, ogres, and stone golems. The number of units, Tyrone, aka Jamokin.
Actually, pine cones are hard camps.
You are correct. Good pick out.
Yay!
So that brings us to Jamokin. You're in the lead. Let's see if we can end in a tie, or if I have to go find another question real quick. We'll do one more. Here's your chance for a comeback, dog. So, neutral creeps have always had interesting and often confusing interactions with status effects in Dota, such as silences. When a neutral creep is silenced, it is unable to cast its spells, but is also unable to be pulled, and if silenced during a pull, will return to the camp immediately. Greco.
Actually disarmed.
Holy shit, you're actually right.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm a support player. He should have known the camps because
fair.
he's a carry player. I know the polls because I'm a support player.
All right, well, I'll tell you right now, guys, that ends in a tie. Do I need to pull up a question real quick? Do you guys want to try and break the tie here?
Actually, technically, Jamokin won because based on your rules, if you don't say actually, the point is nullified, not given.
Did you not say actually with the disarm?
No, I was saying on the one that you gave me an extra bonus point. Jamokin would have been up 2.
Fair enough. So in that case, we're going
to
to
say, Jamokin.
Jamokin, congratulations. You win, my friend.
I'm not
it's 9:01 and I must leave. So I bid you adieu, podcast and podcast listeners.
That is fine. And we will keep going as we're not done yet. And we're going to talk about our last segment here shortly. Walshy, I know, is really excited about. So everyone say goodbye, Jamokin. Bye, Jamokin.
Later, Jam.
So why don't you go ahead and lead us into this? So you were kind of talking about a specific deal happening in another game. Why don't you explain?
Yeah, so I just kind of got on this. I follow kind of multiple forms of esports. And I think one of the arguably most popular forms of esports, just because of a lot of Twitch streamers following it and just a lot of media around it, is professional/competitive Smash. And I mean like Super Smash Brothers. Which most of us probably heard of. You've seen, like I said, Twitch streamers do tournaments all the time.
Zen cast a lot of, I think, professional.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's a ton of people that get involved in that community, and it's massive. And the big thing that I got from it, and this is the news is kind of hit for, which a lot of people will probably know about by the time they listen to this, is that Nintendo has on the night before Thanksgiving, announced that they have sent a cease and desist letter to the biggest tournament in Smash history. So for anyone who doesn't know, a little bit of background, Smash World Tour is happening right now, which involves 2 games. It's Smash Ultimate, the most recent rendition of the game, and Smash Melee, which is the classic, like where the scene started, and it's where most of the cult following is. Each of those tournaments, for each of those games, had a $250,000 prize pool, which led to the tournament being in total a $500,000 prize pool. And 2 weeks out from the finals of this tournament, in which it's taken place in a bunch of different locations for qualifying and yada, 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 it has now been sent a cease and desist by the maker of the game saying, hey, you're not allowed to do this. You're making too much money off of it, or we don't like you. And there's a lot of politics and history behind exactly it. But the subject that I kind of wanted to bring up, and just kind of my personal take as well, is holy shit. Sometimes we got to remember, we like as much shit as we do give Valve, like holy shit, could they be worse? Right?
Let's think about it this way. Valve isn't that bad. Like, I know we talk about Valve and all the shit, like, and all the things that could be better. The reason why we talk about everything that could be better is because we care a lot about the game. But we're a bunch of spoiled children who are arguing about, hey, this could be improved. This needs to be improved. And yeah, like, it's usually not wrong, but we've got it better than most other esports. Like, we're still the highest payout of any esports, like, in the world. Like, we own the largest prize pools, like 1 through 7 or something, and then like 8 and 9. Like, we argue because there's too much money, right?
Oh yeah, and what is it? We argue about, it wasn't big enough of a massive stadium for an international tournament. Like, it's like,
like, this shit didn't blow us out of the water. Like, we weren't, like, it wasn't like ridiculous, like the content. Like, these are really good casters, but they weren't the best always.
Yeah, I think there's, I don't know, there's a line of exactly like you just said. Like, we love the games, we always want to see it improved, and just if there's an obvious area we see it can be improved, we want to be vocal about it because we want to see this grow and get bigger and be part of it. But at the same time, we obviously appreciate that, like, I mean, we participate in what is arguably the biggest esport in the world, depending on your categories.
Yeah,
like
I see this a lot with children. I don't want to call us, what the community is, a bunch of children. But it's like you're shown something and you become used to it. And like I see it in my job as an athletic trainer working at high school. Like, there's a lot of expectations of, like, my school gives myself a shit ton of money and we have more equipment and things that we can do and services that I can provide, sometimes upwards of some collegiate level.
Yeah.
But there's also schools that don't have athletic trainers. And or like for example, my first job actually working in professional baseball, my room was a double wide trailer with no AC in the heat of summer.
Jesus.
Like, yeah, where you're dripping sweat over your patients.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it's you're shown this, you're spoiled by it, it becomes your norm. And then because now it's your norm, you want more. But then when you look at like say Nintendo, it's not the norm. Like that level is not the norm. It's raised like Dota has in the production and all that stuff, I believe fully that it's raised the level of everything else around it. But there is worse, and it's common to be worse.
Yeah. I mean,
And
even to capitalize on what you're saying as well, like, I mean, Dota is, you know, and people can say that, oh, well, Melee and Smash was a grassroots thing. Like, Dota was grassroots. It wasn't invented by a company, man. It was invented by a dude in his basement who thought this was a great game and then got picked up by Valve. Like, Nintendo can do the same thing.
It was still a production team. Like, it was based off of, like, I mean, it was an arcade game, essentially. Like, it was a mod.
Yeah.
That got picked up. Yeah, and originally it was supposed to go to Blizzard, and then like they're like, no, Blizzard's gonna handcuff us, so we're gonna go to Valve, who they're gonna let us run with it any way that we want. But it's essentially like what Blizzard did though is not uncommon, where they wanted a handcuff, like and say it's still our game, we own the rights, so we want to have say. Valve took a giant leap, but like Nintendo, like it's saying like Nintendo owns the rights. Like it's essentially their game. It's under their umbrella. Are people pissed off about what happened? Yeah, I would be too. But they did something that broke the umbrella, and they're making more money than I would imagine what Nintendo is making off of it. And that's when they had a problem was this is our game. Why are we not making the bulk of the money?
Yeah, you're making money off of our product. That's funny, dude. No, you're not doing that.
Yeah,
that's essentially
and
the answer.
when you look at it that way, it's not a horrible thing that they did. It sucks for all the viewers, it sucks for like the players, and it sucks for the tournament organizers. But when you look at it in the sense of, hey, this is our game, you're making money off of our game, like, yeah, it's a little bit more understanding.
A little bit. My thing is still, though, ultimately, if they were going to pursue, like if Nintendo had an interest in pursuing this esports kind of platform and actually developing it and making it into something and making it, you know, I mean, it's an opportunity that's there, right? They're just like, we're not going to use that opportunity, and neither are you, because fuck you. It's kind of just the impression that I got. Is, you know, if you're not going to take advantage of it, why is it so bad that somebody is actually willing to put in all of this work and all of this like stuff to then have you 2 weeks out? And I mean,
because they own the rights, and I would imagine that
fuck you and your buzzer.
They weren't going to be. Oh, I'm not hitting the buzzer.
Who did that?
I don't know actually, but yeah, it's. I feel like they probably were shortchanging Nintendo and be like, we're doing all the work, like you were saying, like. You could also go and say, like, and redo contracts and make contract through Nintendo in order to do it with the organizer. You're not going to make as much money, but then it becomes, okay, I'm your tournament organizer. Is it worth it for me? So what's going to happen is Nintendo is going to have to put their foot in the water if something like this is going to occur, or it's just never going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And that's sad. 100% it's sad, but it's reality.
It is, and I'm with you of the idea that it's their product, they're going to protect their product, and obviously the idea of anybody quote-unquote exploiting their product to make money off of it in any form is something that they either want a piece of the pie on, or at the or they just don't want happening.
Right, and I can't imagine they don't want it happening. They don't want it happening for specific reasons.
Yeah,
and that reason being like XYZ, like they didn't pay me enough money or things like that. And it usually does come down to money, and I would imagine that's what happened. I don't know all the details.
I'm sure there's some legal liability things it exposes them to as well, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, it's a tournament in your game and I didn't get something. I didn't get paid out. You guys had a glitch in the game that somebody took advantage of and won. And it's like suddenly people are pointing fingers at Nintendo of like, did you put this glitch in the game on purpose? Like, dude, fountain hooking all over again.
Yeah, it really is. And we've been blessed as Dota players that this has not been an issue for us.
Yeah, I've not heard of anybody suing in Dota just yet. But that
I
being said,
well, no,
again,
there's plenty of lawsuits, like we talked about it earlier. Like there's
fair
actual
of owing money.
lawsuits.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lawsuit, GSC and Valve, like suing GSC, for like money that like 127,500, that's owed to EG, and then 110,000 that's owed to VGJ Storm. And this is like shit from I believe 2018.
And they're suing
Like,
Valve.
no, they're suing GESC.
Oh, okay.
And then there's like, uh, I believe that there's some other lawsuit. Like there's gonna be lawsuits because there's a lot of money and stuff like going in. And I'm sure a lot of these will turn into lawsuits, and
Yeah.
especially since they're not paying out and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not uncommon. Like,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I mean, the only analogy I can think of is that like it's just kind of like a parent-child situation. I hate to say that all the Dota players are the children and Valve's the parent.
Oh, they
The
are
honesty
all
of
the
it is,
children.
yeah. I mean, you're right, but the honesty of it is, it's like, oh, you know, like Valve didn't buy me the lollipop that I wanted. They're so terrible, and meanwhile, there's just the Nintendo's literally kicking the shit out of their players in the gut, and it's just like,
Yeah.
maybe we shouldn't complain that much.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
don't get me wrong.
it's the parents that are against like striking their children, and there's the parents that fucking bring out the paddle.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. As it's funny though, like how there's kind of an overlap like that.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to bring that up because it reminded me, like, for how often that we look on, if you go on Reddit, you'll find some new thread complaining about Valve, and I just think, like, I'm watching this implosion of the Smash scene from the outside, going, you know what? Thank fuck I'm not in that community, like, in a serious way, because that would break my heart.
Can you imagine if that happened in the Dota scene? Like the Dota scene is so close knit. It's ridiculous. I was actually listening to a podcast the other night, coming back from Thanksgiving, listening to Monkey Business again.
Oh yeah.
And they were discussing, I think it was Effie and Kyle, and they were discussing, since Kyle's not really around anymore, what he's doing and things that he misses and things like that. And he's like, well, it's weird because Dota has been such a huge part of his family and how close knit the community is and things like that. And he's still involved in it, but in a completely different way, where he's in Ukraine and he's working with one of the organizers and things like that now. But it is a giant community, and like especially when you're at that level where you're in the talent or you're a professional or like you're in management and things like that, like it is a giant family. And like they hold the after party after TI, which is both a meet and greet and a meetup and a lot of fun for like the talent, and then it becomes work for like your management and like your owners and stuff, because that's when you're like, hey, what are you doing next season? Like I know that you're not going to stick with this team, like what's going on, things like that, you know what I mean? But it's kind of neat that it is really, really family oriented, and it's a community that's not like any other. Like we would fucking riot if what happened with us happened to or what happened with Nintendo happened to us.
I mean, and that's what they're kind of seeing now, is that there's gonna be massive boycotting over Nintendo shit with this. And I mean, they've tried stuff before with it, but the ultimately of it is that it's exactly like you just said. It's basically like, imagine if Valve did this right now. Like imagine if Valve just one day, Beyond the Summit, which by the way, I want to say this real quick, Smash had a Beyond the Summit section, and then they got a cease and desist from Nintendo. Imagine if one day Valve just sent Beyond the Summit a cease and desist order. Like, in full honesty, there's no reason. Like, is Beyond the Summit part of DPC?
Beyond the Summit actually ran two different regions during the last DPC.
Okay, but there's
an
example.
They ran SCA and they ran Europe for the second two tours.
Nice. No, I'm not going to say whether that went. I'm not going to say whether that went shit or great for them doing it, but I'm going to say at the very least, look at Valve.
They paid out their teams.
Yeah, I mean they paid out their teams. Fair, but Valve, like, look at Valve working with another organization on making this game more popular.
Well, it's not even that. Like they work with like we're so many. Like they work with ESL. They've worked with Epicenter. Like they're like Valve doesn't put on any tournaments other than TI.
Yep.
Like that's the only Valve run tournament. Everything else
and the majors, right?
No, like ESL won Malaysia or whatever, or ESL like Epicenters run majors. Like they're on the DPC, but Valve doesn't run them. It's the tournament organizers that run them.
Fair. But ultimately, yeah. I mean, just to go back to the summary of it, it's just as much as like, yeah, complain about this game and make points out because you love it and you want it to be better. But remember that ultimately, like, Valve could be a much more tyrannical organization when it comes to this game. And we do shit on them. Everyone shits on them. We shit on them on this podcast still. But we do love Valve at the same time for creating what it is. And for it does. It nurtures the community, even when we shit on it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I mean, can you imagine, like, so right now, we don't know when the hell, like, the worst thing that's happening to the Dota community right now is not knowing when the hell we're 2 weeks out and we're panicking because we don't know when the hell
yeah, and we're fucking crying
when the qualifiers are. Like, they've released so much information and, like, there's still half of the, like, there's still so much prize pool money that's coming from this battle pass that, like, people are wondering where the hell it's going. And, like, that, like, the worst of our problems is this, and they listen to all of our problems. They constantly are coming out with patches and listening to shit on Reddit and like what the pros want and their needs and things like that. And like that's the worst of our problems. In this other game, they're actually just losing their minds because like, and how should I say this? They're losing their minds because their tournament was completely destroyed.
Oh,
like it's such a different level.
Yeah, and it was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks out of the tournament. Like, imagine just the concept of just canceling TI 2 weeks out from it. I'm not gonna get into what the fuck happened with COVID, but like legitimately, like imagine if TI just disappeared in 2 weeks, like 2 weeks before. Like the people, I'm not kidding you. Like this is again, like organizations had booked tickets to places. Do you know what I mean? Like they'd already booked their players' tickets and flights and shit. And it's like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like yeah. But I think that's a good note for us to end on here. I think it's just, hey guys.
Yeah, I think so too. I got a fish to bring in. I believe I am the winner of the fishing competition now with my 1.96 pound bass.
Now hold on there. I'm about to reel in a 5-pounder like right here.
All right, we're gonna see.
Oh, hold on. Last fish.
I got one on the hook too.
1.49.
1.49. And my last one is 1.56. So I even beat you there.
Fair enough.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in for a dose of Sinsanity. It's been an absolute pleasure. Be ready to tune in next week for episode 33. Man, it's been a lot of episodes.
If you find more inaccuracies in my statements, then DM me, I dare you. I'm actually my ass in my DMs. Later, guys.
Adios.